Hi, this is Peter Godinez with K80YTV.net, and we have the very special Marianne Rooney, who is going to inform us on, I think, a very important subject. So, Marianne, thank you so much for being with us. She's the president of the Oxnard Harbor District Board of Harbor Commissions.
Right.
So I'm glad I wrote that down. That was a lot. So this is a really important subject. It's Measure M, Mary. And I just think there's a lot of things that we need to understand.
Sure.
And I'm just asking you to put on your educator, instructor hat.
Sure.
And just tell us about Measure M. There's a lot of people who don't understand it. And I would just like for you just to take the stage and give us an idea of what it's about.
Sure.
And inform us.
Sure. Measure M is a ballot initiative that's placed on the November 2014 ballot for the city of Hueneme. And what it does is it establishes a new business tax code for the business licenses for all companies that operate in the city of Hueneme. So it changes, it's a new ordinance that updates a past ordinance that is 37 years old since the last update, and then it would establish new categories for businesses to have a business tax license.
Okay.
That's what it is.
So that's just a good summary of what it is.
Right.
So why put it on the ballot? What's really significant to the city of Hueneme in regards to
Sure.
this?
So what the new ordinance does is it creates these tax categories for businesses, specifically that the customers that operate in the Port of Hueneme, the Oxnard Harbor District. And so it creates new categories that would directly impact the port customers. It also creates a new category for contractors on the Navy base.
Mm-hmm.
So it's specifically targeting the Navy base contractors and also then the port customers in specific areas like open air storage, warehouse storage, cold warehouse storage, tugboats, pilots, things like that. So it structures it has a new structure in order for them to collect more taxes through a business tax license ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what it does mechanically. Now, we have taken and provided an analysis that how would Measure M impact our customers. We can only look at the port customers, not the Navy base, but look at the port customers and see what are they currently paying in their business tax license and what would Measure M impact them for their business.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done that. We've looked at the ballot tax language, and what it does is it sets the maximum tax rates for customers and for people who are paying the business license. So the ballot language itself says it will establish maximum tax rates, and then council has the opportunity through a 2/3 vote to adjust those rates. So if you have a 2/3 majority in the council to adjust it, then you could pass it through. So there's no guarantee that that would actually happen, but it exists. So you need a 2/3 majority in order to establish it lower than the maximum rates. So in knowing what that language is, we took our customers and we applied Measure M to their businesses. And what we have found is that some of our customers have a 17,000% increase in their business tax license. So companies can't survive a 17,000% increase in fees. What's of specific note with global companies that work with the Port of Hueneme is that they need stability. And so they know year over year over year that, okay, here's the license, here's the possessory tax, here are all the costs that are going to go into it. Because establishing a trade route takes years to establish. And they look at all of the costs, they look at the relationships between the cities that they're with, and then they determine, okay, this works or not. And it's a very thin profit margin for them to operate a trade route into here. One of our customers, they are a Korean company that brings in the Hyundais and the Kias, mm-hmm. and they currently operate on the Navy base. So they rent land to put their processing facility from the Navy. And so the Navy gets between $3 and $5 million a year from the rent that goes with that company. That money that's generated through that contract stays locally, and it stays right here on this Navy base. It doesn't get sent anywhere. So they can utilize those funds to do improvements on this very Navy base. They also create 150 jobs. They currently pay the city $200,000 through mitigation fees, and then they also pay about $300,000 in possessory interest tax. So they've got a large amount that they're paying currently, and so what this would do under Measure M is that they would go from the $200,000 to $1.4 million, and so that will put this company out of business here. And they've told us that if Measure M passes, and this is the application of it, they will leave. So the Navy loses $3 million at a minimum. 150 jobs are lost immediately. The $200,000 that the city currently gets, they would lose, and then also the $300,000 that goes to the county for possessory interest tax. So that's gone immediately. That is very real. It is something that we've been told that they couldn't afford to do business here. The implication of that is that the Navy is going to be harmed, through the lack of that money, millions of dollars that come into the Navy. And then also, the people are going to lose their jobs. 150 people are going to be out of work. Even further than that, if you look at the tenets of economic development, it's a three-prong approach: creation, retention, and attraction. This measure doesn't allow for economic development to happen because you're losing a company. So the retention of those jobs, that is gone. The measure does not create jobs because you're simply taxing the companies even more. So creation, that's out the window. Retention is out the window. And then the attraction part of economic development, there's no way that we can attract a customer back here once that customer leaves because of this measure. So it doesn't fall under the guidelines of economic development, where you set this in place and you drive customers away. That this is very real. These are numbers from what we have, what our customers, and what it's compared to under the ballot language. So in a general picture, the Harbor District, pays and through our customers, we're going to lump everybody together through the port, and it's about $2.1 million that is paid currently with all of the taxes and everything. Under Measure M, it would go to $5 million. So that really creates a huge problem for the Oxnard Harbor District, for the Port of Hueneme, for the Navy base, for the people that are going to lose their jobs. And then you have to ask the Navy, how is that going to impact your sailors who are going to be taxed through the NEX taxes and the Navy contractors. So I can only speak to the port side, but there is the application of the Navy and the Navy contractors and the sailors that would be impacted from it too.
Now, again, as a student raising their hand in the audience, you mentioned Korea. Is Hueneme kind of a conversation that's happening around the world? You mentioned Korea. What other countries are actually part of the conversation about?
Right. So this ballot measure is being talked about worldwide. So Hyundais and Kias, are out of Korea. They're looking at how are we going to survive in case that this passes. You have BMW out of Germany that are seriously looking at this. We have companies in South America, in Brazil, in Central America, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Guatemala, Costa Rica. Everybody is looking at how does this impact us. In Sweden, the largest shipping line, Wallenius Wilhelmsen, they're looking at this. How do we make it work if this is the impact of what the business license is going to be? So the conversation has gone global, and it's being discussed, from a Navy point of view, from the folks higher up than this Navy base here, and looking at it and evaluating it in total. So it's a global conversation. It's not just, the small town of Hueneme.
That's what I got from your conversation.
Yeah. So, it's a serious issue that I think that this is going to be a serious impact on the Port of Hueneme and all of the jobs that are created by the port. More than 10,000 jobs are created through the activity that happens at the port, and those are at jeopardy.
Talk to us, if you can, factually about the profiles of the voters who are actually going to go to the polls. Can you give us an idea of the profile of people who are actually going to vote of Hueneme?
So there
Tell us.
were 8,800 registered voters in the city of
8,800.
Hueneme.
Okay.
So if you look at the turnout that we usually have, it's around 30 to 35% turnout.
Okay.
So we're looking at a very small amount of people that are going to determine the destiny of the Navy base and the Port of Hueneme. So we're looking at 2,000 people that are going to determine the destiny of this regional asset.
What would you want to be speaking to them in terms of everything you said, but if you had to hone in and say there was something you really wanted to let them know factually, what would be the highlight
Sure.
of those things? Is that fair to ask?
Our current customers comply with the law
Okay.
that is currently in place. They are following the law as it's outlined. They are paying their taxes. And we have documents to prove that and the amounts that will prove that. We're following our agreements. We're honoring those agreements that we have with the city. And so I encourage everybody to take a look at the facts. Put the emotions aside because it's a very emotional issue. Put the emotions aside and look at the facts and do your own analysis. When you see the amount of increase that can happen here, it will drive business away. And so I ask people, put your business hat on and look at it and do the analysis and figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, good.
Was there anything else you can kind of summarize? And you've been very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I always like to give you a chance just in case I didn't ask that key question.
Well, thank
So-
you. The Measure M is coming up in November. There are a number of people that have already come out in opposition of M.
Okay.
That includes labor groups, the Taxpayers Association, both the Oxnard and Hueneme Chambers of Commerce have taken a no on M position. So there was a strong coalition of no on M. This is not the right formula to change a tax code. We would love to work together with the city and in conversation with the Navy base, with our port customers, with business community, to talk about how the city can develop a measure that is going to be successful for the city and to help them grow and increase their revenue as they need to do that. We want to work together with them. We want to collaborate together and have that conversation. We didn't have that opportunity before Measure came on the ballot.
Aaron Rooney, thank you so much.
Thank
Again,
you,
a great
Peter.
job. You're the president of the Oxnard Harbor District, the Board of Harbor Commission. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.